Thank you for coming. Welcome everybody to a final presentation of our team project. Welcome also to the scientific committee, to our clients, to the all external visitors, to our friends from AISTS. It's a pleasure for me, first of all, to introduce our team. So we will start with Ankush. He is our project manager. Yannick, he is our communication manager. Alex is working as a researcher, and myself, Milena, is working as the analyst. So first, I would like to introduce the Maison du Sport Vaudois, or shortly MSV itself, our client, and also a short project overview before my colleagues can go into detail. So let me start with the location of Lausanne. Lausanne is a small village in the Canton of Vaud in the Swiss Alps. And because of the given infrastructures and the already given summer and winter activities, it was chosen to be the future home of the MSV. So the main objective of the MSV is to host youth training camps, and it's also looking to host corporate events or sports camps. And it will feature a total of 70 beds, fully equipped gym, a dining room and gaming rooms, and it's planned to be open within June 2015. So this will lead me to our project overview. First of all, I would like to introduce our client. It's Gestion Sportive Lausanne SA, or GSL SA, and which is represented by Monsieur Pierre Lamorin. He is the director of Lausanne Tourism and the president of GSL SA. And the MSV plan to have, and the GSL SA will operate the MSV, and the MSV plans to have an occupancy all year round of 30 to 40% with school camps, and is planning to increase this occupancy up to 60% in the next couple of years. This means we identified 3 major target markets, which are international federations, national federations, cantonal federations, and clubs. And it was clearly said that the MSV would not host federations such as FIFA or UEFA or bigger football clubs. And our aim of the project then was to identify the operational needs, the motivations when it comes to the decision making when the client would like to organize those camps. And consequently, our research should help MSV then to align or incorporate their services and strategies for the future. I will now pass the floor to Jan.
Thank you, Milena. So we talk about the research methodology. So we did an online survey which was designed to understand 3 main topics: the current situation, the decision-making process, and the satisfaction of the. The survey was sent in both English and French. So it was an online quantitative research that was sent it to clubs, organizations, national federation and international federation in the French part of Switzerland. For the international federation, the HR, the administration, the sports, and the marketing department was targeted. For the other organization or federation, the president or the CEO was targeted. In total, we sent 668 emails, and 602 mails were successfully received. We found 3 limitations to our surveys. The first one was data validation. So we don't have a way to control that the survey was correctly answered by the right person. Secondly, the interpretation. We don't have also a way to control that the question was well understood and well interpreted. And lastly, we could have reached more extensive answers by sending also the survey in the German part, so sending the survey in the German language. So going more to the results now, from the 602 emails successfully received, we have 106 answers survey, which gave us the following results. So more than 50% of them are organizing sports training camps, and about 1/3 are not organizing any camp. From these 106 answers, only 52 was useful. From these 52, 41 was local clubs, and the rest was federations. So the audience of their camps or events. In the most cases, the camps or events are organized for athletes, coaches, or referees and employees. The monthly distribution. Usually, a camp or an event is held 1 or 2 times a year for 1 or 2 days, and mostly during the spring or the fall season. Another point, the location of the camps. So as a logical point, as we send the survey to the French part of Switzerland, the camps or events are mainly organized in the Canton de Vaud or Canton de Valais. On average, a camp or an event are composed by 21 to 40 people for 40% of the cases, and another 33% from 5 to 20%. Lastly, the purpose of the camps and events. So in the mainly cases, the camps or events are organized for sports activities, for physical conditioning, and for training programs. Regarding the budget, as you can see, there is no clear pattern. It means that the budget depends on what the federation are willing to spend. Now we are going to talk about the decision-making process with Alex.
Thank you, Yannick. So the first information that we wanted to collect in the decision-making process part of the survey was where they heard about the sport facilities where they host their camp, and who were the person in charge in making the final decision. So on the information collection, we saw that internet search and recommendation from external sources were the 2 most popular ways of finding out about a sport facility. And just after that, we had recommendation from staff. So after the internet search, word of mouth was an important way of finding out about a sport facility. For the decision makers, most respondents stated that the presidents were the ones in charge in making the final decision when choosing a sport facility. And then 42% put others, and then specified that the coaches were the one in charge. We then made some research and to try to identify what were the main factors in running a sport facilities. And we asked the respondents to rank them in order of importance when choosing a sport facility. So we first had, as the most important aspect, facilities and amenities available. Secondly, we had the price. Thirdly, we had both catering and location. And lastly, accommodation and client servicing. We then wanted to collect more detailed information for each of these factors. So we identified elements of each that, elements that each factors would offer. So for facilities, and we then asked the respondents to rank them again in order of importance. So for facilities and amenities, which was the most important factor, elements such as various sport facilities available was the main concern. So having a pool, inside gym, outside playing fields. And then secondly, high-speed internet and locker facilities. For the pricing, package deals, seasonal offers, and discounts was the main concern of the respondents. Regarding catering, the quality and the variety of food was an important aspect, and also having seated meals and flexible meal time. Regarding location, the main concern of the respondents was the accessibility, so easy access by public transport, and also the scenery and access to public services, so having close grocery stores, bus stop. For the accommodation, basic needs such as the availability of linens and towels was the main concern, and having dorms compared to private rooms or single or double rooms was the main concern of the respondents. And then finally, for the client servicing, the main concern was to have a single point of contact and the ease of booking, payment. And one aspect here that we were quite surprised with was also the parking, so having spacious and close parking. For the final part of the survey, we wanted to identify the current satisfaction level of the facility that they use at the moment. And we compared it with the average ranking of the factors of importance. So what we can see with facilities, price, and accommodation, which were the 3 most important aspect when choosing a facility. They were currently satisfied with what they had. Regarding catering, which was also third important when choosing a facility, the satisfaction level started decreasing a little bit. And for client servicing, satisfaction level was very low. Overall, we can see that the current satisfaction level with the facility that they're using is quite high. But at the end of the survey, when we asked them if they were willing to try another facility, 80% of them were open to try another facility. So I'll now pass the floor to Ankush, who will go through our recommendations.
Thank you very much, Alex. In terms of recommendations, at the start of the project, we mentioned that MSV wants to increase the occupancy of the project to 60%. In that regard, it is very important for them to identify the right target market. So out of the 3 identified target markets, the national, international and cantonal federations, it would be recommended for them to focus mainly on cantonal and regional federations. The reasons for that being, they are more likely to organize camps for athletes, referees and coaches, which are the facilities directly offered by MSV. And they are mainly organizing their camps in the cantons of Vaud and Vaud, thus making MSV an ideal location for these potential clients. After identifying the right target markets, it's very important to have a marketing strategy that is directly impacting the decision-making factors of the potential clients. So in that regard, they should focus on pricing, promotion, and how they can differentiate the product from other competitors. To start with, on the pricing strategy front, as the results of the survey indicated that clients mainly look for a value for money pricing. In regards to value for money, package deal, as the survey suggested, was the highest important factor when it comes to pricing. Secondly, the seasonal offers, we saw that there is a monthly distribution while organizing camps. So certain seasons have high occupancy and certain seasons have low occupancy. So having some seasonal offers could be a good way of attracting clients. And lastly, having sport-specific pricing strategies. So certain sports have certain requirements. So based on the requirements, a pricing strategy can be developed. Secondly, moving on to the promotion aspect. Currently, MSV does not have any internet presence. They do not have any website because it's still under development stage. So once that is done, it will be important for MSV to have an up-to-date website, having quality links, tags and keywords so that the traffic can be directed to their website, doing search engine optimization, being available on online directories, as well as doing online advertising. Secondly, word of mouth, as we know by the survey now that word of mouth plays a very important role for people to choose a facility. So in word of mouth, it would be recommended for MSV to have a grand launch event so that they can invite all the potential clients and showcase them the potential of choosing MSV. Have good media coverage for that event so that people know about MSV. And apart from that, when MSV is operational, having things like forums where people can post their experiences of using MSV as a facility, having referral discounts for loyal customers could also be helpful. Lastly, in promotion, it's very important that you communicate to the right people. So in that regard, it would be important that they are communicating to the president and CEOs of clubs via emails and newsletters while using French as a language of communication. Lastly, how they can differentiate MSV from other potential competitors in the market. Firstly, catering services. As the survey results show that catering is something that is very high on importance, but the satisfaction level is not very high. Thus, offering certain good quality and variety of foods could act as a differentiating factor. Secondly, accommodation. Currently, MSV is planning to host only dorms. But if they can have an arrangement of making some private rooms, they can probably attract a larger and a more sophisticated audience to MSV as well. Client servicing, as we know by the survey now, that was the least important factor and as well as the least satisfaction level in terms of choosing a facility. So in this regard, having things like single point of contact, good parking facilities, flexible meal options, check-in, check-out timings could be helpful. Medical services, since the basic purpose of MSV could be to host sports camp, having good medical services like basic first aid availability, on-call doctor could help MSV to differentiate itself. And lastly, location and accessibility. In this regard, Lausanne is already blessed because it is 20 minutes drive away from the major highway, and it has a large variety of sport facilities which could be used in all seasons. So this could really act as a differentiating factor for MSV. Now I'd like Milena conclude the presentation as she started it.
Yes, thank you. So to finally wrap up shortly our presentation, based on the research we made, we would like to highlight a few things for the MSV. So first of all, the MSV should implement a strategy to attract cantonal federations and clubs based in the French part of Switzerland. Also to create strategies for value of money, such as Andrew said, seasonal packages, special offers. Also to being constantly present online, being updated, having a good website, being allowed to check other rooms available or not through search engine optimizations. Also to have a grand launch party and inviting all the potential target clients. And this will not only increase the word of mouth, but also engage local press. Also adding some extra services such as parking, free Wi-Fi for the whole area, having good food, having a lot of variety of food, and last but not least also making a competitor analysis, of the whole environment of Lausanne. So not only to understand also the operational models of the competitors, but also to being able to differentiate themselves from the others. So this leads us to the end of the presentation. Thank you.